Welcome to the show. We are live in Orlando, Jacksonville, and Tallahassee, broadcasting across iHeart Radio and on YouTube and on Twitter. Happy to have you on board. Bianchi is out this week. Jaden Grimes, the prodigy, is in, and it's July, which means it's time to start prepping for your fantasy football drafts. And we'll do that every day this week at 4:20 p.m. Set your alarm to it. Of course, there's a lot of other things to discuss as well. I just wanted to make sure that I put that out there, that with Bianchi out of the way, the kids will play.
That's right. Granddad's out of town, so we get to talk fantasy football.
That's right. Enjoy your vacay, Gramps. I hope you all have recovered from the 4th of July food coma, the libations, the nonstop fireworks, and the everything that was year 250 and everything that it brought us. It was a phenomenal weekend, incredibly relaxing weekend for me. It didn't do all that much, but just what the doctor ordered. How about you? How was your weekend?
Oh, I didn't do much either. I watched fireworks throughout the weekend. Just a bunch of random places were doing fireworks shows, and I got to watch them from my backyard. So I would just stand on top of this little stool and just see all the fireworks going off and drink beer. It was a great weekend.
I knew that with it being the 250th birthday of America, that as long as you found a spot anywhere in Florida, forget about Central Florida, anywhere in the state where you weren't surrounded by tall trees and you could see out into the distance, you had a good vantage point, as if you were like a sniper.
Exactly.
You were going to see fireworks from every direction.
It was just boom, boom, boom.
I had people, I don't remember it being like this last year. There were several people in my neighborhood with like the big, have you ever seen these things? The big boxes that people light?
Oh, usually me and my buddies go above and beyond for the 4th of July. This year is pretty tame, though.
I went up to one of my neighbors who had the big box. He was about to light it. He's like, "Do you want to see this?" I was like, "Sure." And I'm walking with him, and he had his big noise-canceling headphones on like he was at the shooting range. And I was like, "How does this work? What do you do?" He goes, "You just light it. You just light it." I was like, "I'm going to stand over here, okay?" But a ton of fun. Phenomenal weekend. Let's get to the highlights and headlines. We will start in the world of soccer. We're underway right now with the big one. We'll talk about that in a second. We had two thrilling matches in the round of 16 yesterday, decided by a single goal. First up, Norway rose on to victory against Brazil.
Sheldrup's been brilliant since he came on. Haaland, he wants another one. He's got another one. How about that? Extraordinary. Just phenomenal.
Erling Haaland struck two late goals as Norway stunned Brazil. A 2-1 finish in East Rutherford where the Jets and Giants play. They reach the World Cup quarterfinals and they take on the winner of the next match that we will discuss. England with a road victory, and I mean a road victory against one of the host nations, Mexico, down and out.
Harry Kane scores! England lead 3-1, and the England captain scores his 85th international goal.
The match was played in Mexico. England was down to 10 men on the pitch, a distinct home field disadvantage, and they still overcame the odds and booted Mexico. The two sides had to wait an hour to get to kickoff in terms of when the match was originally set to kick off because of a weather delay. So we went deep into the night with this one. I was fighting it. I missed what was the end of a pretty thrilling match. Caught up this morning, but England, Norway in the next round. Two nations that are a whole lot older than the good old US of A. On to today's action. Portugal takes on one of the presumptive favorites in Spain. That is happening right now. They are in the 6th minute as we speak. And we'll see if the old man Ronaldo has another trick up his sleeve. Team USA attempts to advance to the quarters with a win over Belgium tonight. Belgium is typically one of the perennial powers in the world of soccer, from what I understand. They are down this year relative to what their typical strength is. Kalen Carr, MLS match analyst for Apple TV, is going to join us at 5 o'clock tonight. Really excited for that conversation. He was at the last match, USA versus Bosnia-Herzegovina. And so we'll ask him about that, the red card situation that has played out. The biggest news in the whole match will come by the way of Balogun, who was originally suspended due to a red card. Our president, Donald Trump, got involved in that decision, and it has now been overturned. So I'm going to cover that with him. Kalen Carr coming up at 5 o'clock. It's also our top story that we will cover in great detail in the next segment. Jaden, the last time that we spoke was on Wednesday of last week. So it has been a minute since we've been on the air together. It's been a minute since we've been on the air with all of you. And the NBA has clearly been sipping the whiskey because this league is drunk right now. Jaylen Brown, 5 days ago, sent to the Philadelphia 76ers. Who saw this coming?
That happened right after we got off air on Wednesday, right? Like, I forgot that even happened. It's been so long. What a trade for 35-year-old Paul George. What?
Yeah, there's a lot of layers to that, too. I left the studio on Wednesday, had the watch party at the Hideaway, which was awesome. That place, what a vibe that place was. Packed. Like sardines level, and when the United States scored, just pandemonium. I felt like I was in the stadium. But I'm on my way there, and it's down on Mills, in that this area has been built up so much. I used to live down there, but it is so much nicer than when I even lived there 10 years ago or so. It's really nice. But the only problem is, if there's anything going on that people are excited about, there's zero parking in the area.
Absolutely none.
So I'm circling. I got there early, too. And I'm just the game didn't start until 8 o'clock. I was supposed to be there for the work portion of it at 7. I left here at 6, got there at 6:20. I did not walk into the restaurant until like 6:45. I was just doing laps around the Mills area. I finally figured out that there's a parking garage. So the people down there that are running the show, the city leaders, good on them. I didn't know this because this is new. There's a parking garage there now, and so that made things easier, but it took me 25 minutes to figure that out. Anyway, I pay for the parking, and then I open Twitter, and splashed across social media is this Jaylen Brown trade that had happened an hour ago, which means that it was right after we went off the air.
Yeah, they couldn't do it like an hour prior.
I know. We would have been all over that. So back to the trade. The 76ers sent Paul George 2 first-round picks in 2028 and 2031. So not even next year's first-round pick. And 2 second-round picks to Boston for Jaylen Brown. I mean, the Celtics clearly swung and missed on the Giannis deal. They landed on this. I think this is terrible for everybody involved.
Even the Sixers?
Well, not so much the Sixers. I mean more so Boston is not better because of this.
Oh, no.
You settle for Paul George when you could have had Giannis, or you could have just, put Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in therapy and figured it out. And it's not good for Jaylen Brown because you go to a team that now hinges on the health of Joel Embiid. They'll still be good if Embiid is out. With Jaylen Brown there now, with Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, that's a good team. But for them to win a championship, which they right now, if in a video game, that's a championship team. In reality, you're relying on broken down Embiid to stay healthy. I don't think this is good for Jaylen Brown. I don't think this is good for the Celtics. It's good for now for the Philadelphia 76ers, but they're going to dump so much money into this team that I believe will never accomplish anything. So in some ways, it's bad for them too.
I think you're sleeping on the Sixers. I think if they just get a serviceable backup for when Embiid goes down, because he will go down. So when he goes down, you have a solid backup like they did with Andre Drummond. I think they'd be just fine. Someone that can collect the boards.
And then there's an empty seat right there with Bianchi on vacation. I know that he'd want to spin this local. This is also terrible news for the Magic. Because a team that I had the Magic rate in my Eastern Conference hierarchy, I had the Magic above the 76ers. It was one of the teams I could confidently say, I think the Magic going into next year are better than Philadelphia. You can't say that anymore. So the Magic continue to slide down the list, and I'm a homer, and I can't put them any higher than like 8th in the conference.
I would just like to say, last week you guys gave me a D- on Grade the Take for saying the Magic will be a play-in team. What about now?
Well, we will review your grade as the red card has been reviewed for our star striker. Up next, the red card heard around the world. We'll give you our thoughts and feelings on that and why it's not as easy as Yay America after this. All right, let's talk about Mills Air, my go-to service provider for all things AC. That Florida heat, as we know, takes no prisoners. We have two choices. We can either sweat it out or we can join the club of cool customers by calling the team over at Mills Air. And I'm talking next level cool, the latest technology, the best trained techs who do fast, efficient work so that you can get on with your life. And it's not just me. Homeowners throughout Central Florida turn to Mills Air for expert service, honest recommendations, and dependable solutions that fit their budget. Call Leon and the crew to schedule your appointment and tell them that Brandon Kravitz from Game On sent you by. The number to call, 407-277-1159. Online, you can find them at millsair.com. Call them today and be their next cool customer.
Game On with Mike Bianchi and Brandon.
Continue to light us up on the Mills Air text line. That's 50857. More of your responses throughout the course of the show. This story has more twists and turns than an Orlando roller coaster. Let's go back to Wednesday night, round of 32, Bosnia-Herzegovina. I'm still working on that one, by the way, but we're busy whooping that behind on Wednesday night, and Flo Balogun steps on the heel of a Bosnian player. Red card administered after review. That means that we are a man down for the rest of the match, but it also means that he wouldn't be allowed to play in the following game, that being tonight's match against Belgium. The U.S. fans were rightfully pissed off because the call sucked. I am not a soccer expert, nor do I pretend to be one, but I've got a decent beat on what a red card is. It's like a flagrant 2 in basketball, and that was as inadvertent and accidental in terms of contact that you could have. And unfortunately, it led to an injury from the opposing player, but there was no malice to what Balogun did. The call was egregious. They said it on the broadcast, and even the broadcast, they're homers like we are when they want to see Team USA succeed. The call was bad. Of course, the United States would love to appeal, but according to a FIFA rule, the United States men's team was unable to appeal the red card. This is per FIFA regulations. Since the introduction of yellow and red cards at the 1970 edition of the World Cup, no player has ever received a red card and gone on to play in the next match at the FIFA World Cup. It's never happened. This is unprecedented. Well, then, after learning that the red card would not be reviewed, magically, it was. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, put on Truth Social, quote, "Thank you, FIFA, for doing what was right and reversing a great injustice." And this is how most people found out, because FIFA, this is where the story gets really weird to me. You would think that a ruling this big, the best player on the host nation's team, one of the host nation's teams, that FIFA would post this on social media. Pretty standard practice. Post it on Twitter, post it on Instagram. They didn't do any of that. They put it on their website and kind of just hoped that nobody would notice. And then, of course, because our president is our president, he put it out there, and then and eventually people were going to find it, but that's what started the firestorm of reaction because he victory lapped it. The Belgium head coach, Rudy Garcia, said, quote, "I didn't know the game was being played on April Fool's Day. I thought it was played on July 6th, which Jaden, you would agree, objectively, that's a bar.
Yeah, that's a bar. Yeah, no, that's a good one.
So now he's going to play, and that's great. And we as Americans should be happy about this. Even if you hate the president, we should all be glad that he pulled some strings. But this is complicated. And before you jump down my throat, which if you feel the need to do, have at it, I can take it. How pissed would you be if Belgium was the host nation, their best player was set to be suspended, and their nation's leader put a call into FIFA to get it reviewed when it was never going to be reviewed, and then it got overturned? We would all be crying that this crap is rigged. And that's exactly what happened. That is to a T what I just said happened. It happened in favor to us, so yay America, but it did happen, and I do think it complicates some things because it sucks. If he scores tonight and the United States wins, the win can be perceived as a little bit tainted. That's one side of the argument.
Well, that's how everybody's going to look at this win if we win tonight. Everyone's going to be like, well, you guys are the villains of the World Cup now. And that's what it's going to be.
And if he had, and think about it like this too, I don't know how much this matters to people, but if he was still suspended and we lost, would be the sympathetic character in this story. Now, if the United States loses, it's like, and you got your best player back because the president of the United States pulled some strings, and you still lost the match. Yeah. It would be like a double loss if the United States loses tonight.
There's not really too many winning solutions here unless we actually win the game. But we're still going to be hated around the world if we win tonight.
The rest of the world hates us for this. Absolutely hates us for this. And of course, we've had this. How blissful and unifying has this World Cup been? Bringing people together, different nations, everybody's chummy, getting along. We're just in it for the fun of the sport. And of course, this had to become some political issue. And you've got people in this country on the far left that are legitimately upset that Balogun is playing because the president of the United States, who they hate, is the one that got it rescinded. It's like, not only do you have external hatred, you have internal hatred. So we're kind of like right back to where we are all the time, which is the rest of the world hates us and half this country is pissed.
Yeah.
There you go.
The unity's gone. It was nice while it lasted. I will say, last week, I don't know if it was on air or off air, but I told you to put your tinfoil hats on because FIFA wants the USA. They want Team USA to win everything. The final game is in New York. It just makes so much sense, and this further proves my theory that FIFA wants Team USA to win everything.
It does seem like we have received some preferential treatment. So your tinfoil hat theory sounds a lot less crazy after you see something like this happen. If this were a different player for a different country, or even if it was a player of lesser impact for Team USA, would they have gone through the effort and controversy of rescinding a red card? That doesn't happen. Based on my knowledge, this does not happen in FIFA. They don't do this. So that is one side of it. And the other side of it is this. It never should have been called in the first place. So there is what Donald Trump said was that congrats to FIFA, or what's the direct quote? It was, thank you, FIFA, for reversing a great injustice. Calling it a great injustice may be going a little far, but the World Cup is very important to a lot of people. And it was an injustice of sorts that the call never should have happened. But the reversal never should have happened either. So you end up sort of caught in this quandary. The thing that where I will get red-blooded American on you is where I am frustrated is in Belgium's response. The political leaders of Belgium came out and asked for this red card, the rescinding of the red card, to be appealed. The foul wasn't even against you. You had nothing to do with this, Belgium. You should just be preparing yourself to face the United States at full strength. That should be your effort. It's not like they're getting screwed here. They're not the ones, they didn't have a player's ankle stepped on. They should not be involved in this discussion at all. And I think they're coming across like giant babies.
Yeah, I mean, if it was vice versa, if Belgium, if the same thing happened and where Belgium's hosting and they had a player come back because they had a red card and then the FIFA took away the red card, we would be doing the same exact thing. Donald Trump would be on Twitter complaining right now exactly how Belgium is.
Right, but like, shouldn't we want our team to be at full strength? But shouldn't you also want your opposition at full strength so that this is competition?
Yeah, but
you're crying about a foul that you weren't even a part of. Belgium had nothing to do with this other than the fact that they're the team that the United States is playing. And if the call hadn't existed in the first place, then they'd be playing against Balogun. So shouldn't they just accept it?
They should accept it, but I understand why they're upset. I mean, this announcement came, 24 hours before the match? I'm sure they have a game plan, and now they have to change the whole game plan because our star player's coming back. So I can understand their frustration.
It was a couple of days after. Donald Trump, by the way, spoke on this earlier today. Here he is.
He didn't do anything wrong, and he's our best player or one of our best players. A very vital player. And he gave him a red card. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't think it meant much. Then I started hearing that means he can't play in the next game, at least in the next game. I said, boy, that's a big, if it happened to another player, it would have been unfair, but when they take your best player, or just about, they have some great players, and they say you can't play, that's very unfair. That's, it's one thing to penalize somebody for the game, but how do you penalize them for a game that hasn't been played yet? It's very unfair. You can't do that. So, yes, I asked for a review by FIFA. I spoke to a man who's highly respected, and by the way, whose level of respect has gone up tenfold. And he was good before this started, but he really pushed it in this country.
Donald Trump learning what a red card is in real time is definitely... That's humorous. That's just humorous
I
content.
said, "What's a red card?" I looked over at my server. He said, "I don't know, sir. I didn't know what a red card was."
All right. Well, I want to know what you all think about this. 50857. Hit us up on the Mills Air text line. More Game On coming up right after this. Not only can you listen to this show via FM 96.9, AM 740, Jacksonville, Tallahassee stations as well, AM 930, FM 96.5, The Spear. You can also watch the show on YouTube. And the prodigy of production and the prodigy of co-hosting, Jaden Grimes.
You have the good lighting. I'm looking at my arms right now, and I'm pale as a ghost, dude. Like, it looks like there's a highlighter on my arms or something.
I don't think that's the lighting.
You know what? You got me. I don't go outside. You got me.
What'd you do this weekend? What was the primary thing that you did this weekend?
I went to Crane's Roost and I watched a bunch of fireworks.
Oh.
Yeah. So I actually got out of the house this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. Fireworks, which are at night when the sun is not out.
Well,
That doesn't help with paleness.
Yeah, I was definitely sitting inside during the sun. I mean, can you blame me? It's 1,000 degrees
No,
outside.
I definitely cannot. And you got early access to the NCAA video game.
Oh yeah,
This is year 3 of the video game, I think.
Yeah. 25, 26, 27.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we were waiting for this thing for over a decade, and now we're 3 new versions in.
And people are already complaining about it. Can we just
that took no time.
Yeah, can we be thankful for we finally have it back?
I think that EA Sports should take it away again just to shut people up.
Now, that would be a good punishment. It'd be like your dad grounding you when you were a kid. Can't go outside. That's exactly what
I
EA
do that
can
all
do.
the time. I do that all the time. I don't want to go. All right. Well, yeah, I do this all the time with my kid. You go, all right, we're going to go to Publix. Can I get a cookie? Yeah. All right. Then he takes a while to get his shoes on and stuff. And I'm like, I'm not going to let you get that cookie unless you get those shoes on. Oh, those shoes come on fast like he's in a comp.
Oh, yeah, he's sprinting to the car.
Our daily source of inspiration and motivation today's is about remembering who you are. Remember that what you now have was among the things that you once hoped for. This is, I don't know who said that, but wise words. Remember that what you now have was once among the things you hoped for. That ties in perfectly for these people complaining about the new video game.
Wow, that was a perfect transition. Yeah, I mean, that's also a great quote.
Yeah. The life that you have now is what you worked for once. So take a step back, appreciate what you have. If you are playing the new video game, appreciate that as well. It is a Meltdown Mood Check Monday. You can text in 50857. You can also hit us up in the Rage Kit. And let your voice be heard. We want to hear from you. Tap that microphone icon and let it fly. I've got something that bothered me over the weekend, but I want to read a couple of these texts about Balogun and this situation of the red card being rescinded by FIFA, the call from the president. This is a huge story. And so Belgium asked for the rescinding of the red card to be appealed. FIFA said, nah, and he's going to play tonight. So he's definitely going to be out there, and it's great. I think it's great for the competition of it all. I think Belgium should shut up. There's obviously controversy that comes with it, but this was, at the end of the day, if we're to speak on this as level-headed as possible, it wasn't the right call to begin with, and we're back to where we should have been from the beginning. That's to me, that is the most common sense, objective approach to this whole story. Now, there was a lot of politics and I think there were strings pulled. I absolutely think that happened. Do I believe that Donald Trump just called the FIFA president and said, hey, when you get a chance, if you're not busy, could you take a look at this? No, I do not believe that for a single second. I think that he stroked his power and that it worked. But ultimately, we landed on the right side here.
I think Trump did have, he probably did make that phone call, but I don't really think he had that much to do with it. He probably made that phone call so he can put his name on it and be like, look what I did. I made the phone call. I got it from the playback.
Maybe that's true. Maybe he just made a phone call. But do you think that FIFA was going to, if that never happened and Donald Trump just continued to not care about soccer, which I'm pretty sure is the case for most years, do you think that FIFA would have reviewed this, not only reviewed it, but rescinded it, taken it back? If they never got a phone call from Donald Trump, no matter what consisted of that call, if they never got it, do you think they would have taken it back?
I believe they were definitely reviewing it. I don't know if they'd take it back though. That's tough.
It is tough because
that's
we don't
tough.
know. I'm asking you a question. How would you possibly know the answer to that? There's a lot of unknown here.
I think they definitely did review it. I don't know if they would have rescinded the red card, but I for a fact I know they probably were looking at it.
If they felt like they could get away with this without offending one of the top world leaders that are out there, I think they probably would have just left it because you want to honor your officials. The officials on the field, you want to respect their decision. They decided that that his action deemed a red card. I think they're wrong, but also I can very confidently admit that I know significantly less about what constitutes a red card, me versus someone on the field as a professional FIFA official.
Oh, well, yeah, they definitely know more than me, but I'm going to tell them they're wrong.
But they also have a chance of being corrupted, and we are not.
That's right.
We are honest. So here's the thing. I said people are reaching out to us. Cristiano Ronaldo apparently was set to miss the first 2 games of the World Cup this year because of an actual red card offense. FIFA rescinded the 2-game penalty on Portugal's federation and government speaking to FIFA, so this is not unprecedented. That was at the beginning of the tournament. FIFA is holding on to his suspension. Ronaldo is suspended immediately following the World Cup. He's suspended for a year. Now, he's retiring after this year, but he will be suspended by FIFA. So,
wow, it does a lot.
This particular instance is unprecedented, but FIFA being corrupt is not unprecedented behavior. So I'm glad that we're on the right side of it. I guess that's the best way that I can put it. Text in 50857. Champs and Chumps Monday coming up right after this. Hot off the text line at 50857. Somebody said this is not a terribly unique situation, talking about FIFA rescinding Balogun's red card. I beg to differ. Since 1970, when cards were initially introduced to soccer, this has never happened in the World Cup. That's the definition of unprecedented. So I don't know. I think FIFA has reviewed things before, but they've never, a player that's been issued a red card has never played in the following match. Hard stop. That hasn't happened. There's this Ronaldo situation, which I was not familiar with until today. I read up on a little bit before the show. Somebody texted in about it, and this happened during qualifiers. This was not during the World Cup. We're talking about the actual event itself. No one's ever gotten a red card and then played. That's it. That has never happened before. That will happen tonight. But as a wise man once said, things that never happened before happen all the time. It's one of my favorite quotes. I go to it routinely, and this is at least they got it right. Somebody said, do you guys even want USA to win tonight? Of course
Absolutely.
we want. I am happy about the decision. But if you're being objective, it does come with a little bit of, taint to it. That's it.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit of just a sour taste in your mouth. Nothing wrong with that.
And we won't care. I'll celebrate all the same. And they got it right and all of that. But there are, I think the best way to put this, to where I don't even think it's debatable, is that there's layers to this story. It's not as simple as, this player that was suspended isn't anymore. The president got involved.
Yeah, it's a little corrupt. Just a little bit.
The president got involved in this. What else does this happen? This wouldn't happen if Sam Darnold was suspended ahead of the Super Bowl. You think Donald Trump's calling Roger Goodell? I don't know about this one. I like Sam.
Sam, let me tell you, he's the best quarterback I have ever seen.
Your Donald Trump has hit the next level.
Dude, I've been practicing. I look at myself in the mirror and start practicing.
You have improved more than the United States soccer team has. But let's go to the iHeart Radio talk back. We call that the Rage Cage, and hear from Jesse.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite president, and I just wanted to formally say you're welcome. As you may have heard, I made a little call, asked for a little review. It was a perfect call. And you know what, Brandon Kravitz, you get a red card. I know what a red card is now, and you get one. You think Kamala or Sleepy Joe could have made that perfect call? You always right a wrong, Mr. Brandon Kravitz. Let's make FIFA great again.
That's great. That is great. I genuinely do wonder the political side of my brain, which is it's a very remote portion in the back recesses of my mind, does wonder if the Democrats were in office, would that phone call have been made? I don't know. But I'd try not to make my political affiliations obvious on this show. I wouldn't say that I am leading the Donald Trump fan club, but I appreciate that he called.
Yeah, hey, listen, you got us a player back.
Listen. I've cheered for the heels in wrestling before. Sometimes you got to break the rules. You want to win the championship,
and he has a funny voice. All right,
so I'm good with it. By the way, so it is a Meltdown Mood Check Monday. This is something that I wanted to share that is genuinely frustrating to me. I am as annoyed as the next person that typically goes to bed at around 10 p.m. when it comes to fireworks. I remember years ago when my now 6-year-old was an infant and fireworks were blasting in the streets, being so frustrated at these people. Don't you know my kid is sleeping? I've thought of, and I genuinely sympathize with the veterans that are out there that have served, that hear that cannot be easy for those individuals. All of that is true. And it is kind of annoying if at 11 o'clock at night you're still lighting off fireworks beyond the point when most people are out. You are obnoxious if you're doing that. However, I don't want to see people whine about this on Facebook. I don't want to see it. You come across like you hate America. You do.
Just a little bit.
Just keep it to yourself. We're all annoyed, okay? We're all annoyed. It is kind of like when you're at any store and you're in line and the person at the front, the person who is buying whatever, they're at the grocery store, they're the one paying for the groceries, and it's the old lady, and she whips out her coin purse and she starts making exact change. We all hate this woman in the moment. But you don't say anything about it. Just keep it to yourself. I'm so tired of these wet blankets on social media. Stop complaining about every little thing that annoys you. How many times does this country turn 250? And I get it. I was trying to sleep also, but you know what? You just power through. You power through and deal with it. Let people have their fun. Stop complaining.
I will say, this guy in my neighborhood, it was midnight. He was the only one on the road. He didn't have any family next to him, no friends. He was there by himself, just lighting off fireworks.
Those people are obnoxious, but they get one day. One day. Don't do it on the 5th. Don't do it on the 3rd. You get one day. We're back in 60 seconds. It is time to hand out our champs and chumps, the weekend's best and the weekend's worst. Brought to you by House of Champions. I wish this place existed when I was a kid. A wrestling school for kids and for adults, separate classes, of course, but first-class trainers. The place is clean. I went there last week to go and check this out. They have 2 rings. They have a weight room and coaches that actually want to help you or your child succeed. And kids don't just learn pro wrestling. They build confidence, discipline, athleticism, teamwork, and respect. So whether you're a lifelong WWE fan or you simply need a positive outlet, every kid is welcomed and supported. And get this, Jaden, if your kid is into this, you're unsure about classes, first of all, the first one is free, so you can always just go and check it out. But you can also book your kid's birthday party there. I would have died for this as a child. So go and check this place out. Tell them that we sent you, thehocpro.com, or you can just message me directly and I'll put you in touch with the owner.
One question.
Yeah.
When is the Game On wrestling card going to happen? All right.
At some point, we will do something at this facility. It's so nice. It is so nice. I think of most wrestling schools as kind of like they're like run down. They're in an industrial garage.
Just a warehouse in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly. That's like not well taken care of. This is on a main road. The facility is gorgeous. The floors they look brand spanking new. It's so nice. And I was told that if your kid goes there, they have a weight room in the back, that part of their membership is a gym membership for you. So you can actually go and weight train in the back on your own while your kid attends wrestling school. And you know, 2 birds, 1 stone kind of thing.
So you're going to make Owen a WWE superstar. You're going to get ripped.
I'm going to get jacked.
Wow, this is just a win-win for everybody.
I'm very excited. I've not taken Owen there yet, but believe me, that will be happening. So go and check that out. It's House of Champions in Longwood. Joey Chestnut, an early champ for him. Won his 18th Nathan's International Hot Dog Eating Championship. Remember, he took a year off. There was a conflict with sponsorships. I think he went vegan for a minute. I think I'm getting that. He was partnered with a vegan brand and could not be on the Nathan stage. Look that up. I'm pretty sure I've not fact checked this. I'm using my recall, which is dangerous, but I'm pretty sure that's the way that this went down.
He signed an endorsement deal with Impossible Foods, and they wouldn't let him eat the Impossible Foods.
They wouldn't let him eat the Nathan's hot dog because he was endorsing this plant-based product.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's the way that this went down. They went right back into it, and he demolished everyone again.
Because he's the GOAT.
But he's not getting up to 70 anymore.
Well,
he's... Now, nobody else is catching up to him, but Joey Chestnut's dropping off a little bit.
It doesn't matter. He can drop off a cliff, and he's still going to win this contest. No one comes close to Joey Chestnut.
66 hot dogs. I had 2.
I was about to say, I had 4. I don't think I could ever come close to 66.
I had 4 over the weekend, but 2 on 4th of July, which was that was light work.
You got to have hot dogs and cheeseburgers, hamburgers, whatever you want to call it on the 4th of July.
Definitely.
The most American thing.
And I put this video on my Instagram account. I was cooking the hot dogs on my back patio, and it was a torrential downpour.
Yeah.
The
weather was horrible this weekend.
But it was great. It was just... It's so relaxing. When it's raining and I'm grilling, I think that might be, outside of staring at ocean water, that might be peak relaxation for me.
Yeah, honestly, if it's raining, I turn all my lights off. It's fantastic.
That is one of those things that there's just money can't pay for it. A champ to our listeners for coming out to the Hideaway on Wednesday. That was so much fun being a part of that. The Team USA round of 32 match against Bosnia and Herzegovina. Shout out to Andy, who brought me a gift at Wednesday's watch party. This guy came up. I hadn't seen him since the Mikey Awards years ago, which is Mike Bianchi's old awards show. She hasn't done it a couple of years, unfortunately, because you would love it.
I would love to be a part of it.
But he came up to me and he said, I haven't seen you since the Mikeys. He had a bag. He handed it to me, said, this is for you. I open it. It's an Orioles hat. The guy got me an Orioles hat. It was awesome.
What? Shout out Andy. What a guy.
So thank you. A champ for Andy. Also a champ to Cape Verde. Population size 618,000 people. And they pushed 2 of the top brands in the sport of soccer. They played FIFA's number 1 and number 2 ranked teams in the world at the time of the start of the World Cups. That's Spain and Argentina. And it took beyond regulation for Argentina to knock this team out. A population size. How do you build a World Cup competitive roster with a population size of 618,000? To put that into perspective, that is over 23 million less people than the state of Florida. Whew. Now imagine if in the World Cup against Belgium and Mexico and Germany and England, there was the state of Florida. You'd be like, this team has no chance. No chance. You're just a state. All you can pull from are Florida residents. But and we have 23 million people. They have 618,000. So it's like triple the size of Orlando proper. But just to put that into perspective, how small that actually is to build a soccer team that can be competitive against these nations that have been doing this forever with millions of people.
They've probably been training these kids since they were 3 years old, since they learned how to walk. They were like, all right, you guys are in the World Cup. Do something. And they just been going at it.
And they only made it to the round of 32, and they pushed one of the world elites in Argentina. Team USA would have to win a championship in order for this not to be the top story of, if you were to make a movie after this whole World Cup tournament is over, if you were to make a movie about one of those dramatic sports movies about one of these teams, it's going to be Cape Verde.
Oh, for sure.
I think that it's going to be like the Jamaican bobsled team.
What movie was that again?
Cool Runnings.
That was a good
That's what this is. This is like Cool Runnings. So shout out to Cape Verde. You have any champs before I levy some chumps out there?
I have one champ, and that's to the Orlando Magic, funny enough.
Oh.
They signed Cam Reddish to the Summer League squad, and I'm hoping that turns into the best signing of free agency.
That was out of absolute left field.
Yeah, I'm a huge Cam Reddish guy ever since he was. I think it was the 2019 draft.
Yeah,
and I
it
was
was.
so excited to see him on the Summer League squad. So I'm hoping he can turn it around and we pick him up for a minimum and becomes a solid bench piece.
A Duke guy, so this is maybe something Paolo Banchero had something to do with this. But yeah, I had a lot of faith in Cam Reddish being a good NBA player, and that has not panned out. But maybe crazier things have happened.
That's what I'm saying.
I have a chump for WNBA players. Some jealousy, perhaps. The players in the WNBA clearly have some resentment towards Caitlin Clark. Now, is that because she's straight and white? That is what a lot of people have been suspecting. That was the debate that we had between Mike and I a week or so ago. I cannot say definitively that is what people are running with. But I think that's heavily presumptuous and slightly racist to say that that's the reason. But I do agree that there is internal resentment towards Caitlin Clark. You've seen it. You've heard it. I can't deny that outright. Now, July 2nd, the starting lineups for the WNBA All-Star team were announced. The vote for who the starters are is broken up into three parts. 50% comes from the fans, 25% comes from the media, and the remaining 25% comes from the players. She was second in the fan vote, which is also surprising, by the way. So as popular as Caitlin Clark is, I do think she's losing a little bit of popularity steam.
Who was first?
Paige Beckers. She's not... We think of her as overwhelmingly the most popular player in the sport, and I think that has cooled off substantially. She was third in the media vote. Guess where let's play a game of Jaden Grimes step into the game show booth. She was second in the fan vote, third in the media vote. Where do you think she landed in that 25% for the players of the WNBA?
Oh, she was probably like, what, 10th? 11th?
That was very good. She was 11th.
Oh, look at that.
11th. She is having an excellent season, by the way. She's riddled with injuries. I actually turned on the Fever game last night. I was like, I'm going to watch some WNBA before Mexico and England come on the screen. And I'm like, where's Caitlin? Nowhere to be found. She's got an old lady back. That's the problem. She's like a 50-year-old out there. She never plays. Maybe that has something to do with it. But statistically, having her 11th is just grudge holding for no other reason than just petty resentment. She currently has the best combined points and assists per game average, not just in the WNBA, in the history of the WNBA. Right now, she is the highest points plus assists per game average in the history of the sport.
I would never understand the hate that the players give her. Look at what she's done for you as a player in this league. Look at your paychecks. Just your paychecks alone, they have gone up. How much you get paid yearly has gone up because of her. She is bringing you guys funding. At least that's how it was for a while.
So if I can be really overly optimistic about why this would happen, tell me if you think this theory could hold any water. So I was thinking about why the players would do this. Maybe they look at Caitlin Clark's votes and say, she doesn't need us for the fan vote. She definitely doesn't need us for the media vote. So let's vote for other people that are maybe underrepresented in a fan and media vote. Because the players know Caitlin Clark is not going to lack in fan and media voting, so they look in a different direction.
Nah.
That would be me thinking overly optimistic about how the players view the usage of their vote.
Way too positive.
Okay.
Way too positive.
I thought that might be the case. My final chump goes to Brandon Ayuk. I think this is the second week in a row that he has landed on my chump list. And this, after his latest act, I think he might never play in the league again. And I genuinely fear, I say this with 85% sincerity, that he has early onset CTE, the same that ran Antonio Brown out of the NFL. Here is Brandon Ayuk on his Instagram channel.
Fire gonna text me talking about something. You on my team now. You follow my rules. Boy, I'm a grown ass man, boy. You gonna have to start running behind your mama, and I might believe what you talking about. But until then,
Okay, so that was him talking about Jaden Daniels, the quarterback that he says he wants to play with.
This guy's such a bonehead. This was your one shot at the NFL.
Like, Washington can't sign this guy now. And if Washington's not going to do it, he played with Jaden Daniels in college. He wants to play there. He would probably pay there for pennies on the dollar. And if you're Washington, how could you pick this guy up?
I mean, just poor management. That's the only reason you would ever pick this guy up. No NFL team's going to pick this guy up ever.
Okay, so we're running late, but you have to give out your chump because it's too funny.
So Diana Rossini and her husband and her children were all spotted on a cruise, and I have to give a chump to the husband because why are you still with Diana Rossini after this very, very, very public affair?
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know how. I'm all for couples going to therapy and working through their problems and, do it for the kids, but she publicly embarrassed you for years she was cheating on you. How do you go on vacation with this woman?
Not even that. The stuff she'd say about you on these national TV shows, like, get away, dude.
The only explanation is that he was cool with it and she was open and honest about it from the beginning.
It's
at least possible. We don't know if that's the case. I guess I'll let it slide. Whatever, you're into what you're into. But if she did this behind your back and you're still hanging out with her because she's the breadwinner in the family, that is pathetic.
I bet she paid for that cruise, though.
Up next, Fantasy Week starts with a banger. Every day, a different ranking. Today is my go-to running backs that I will be drafting before my league mates. Fantasy Talk coming up after this.
When I take my showers at night, and I think I'm like, maybe I've wait too long, and I see guys playing deep into the playoffs, and I think I'm like, okay, maybe if I switch teams and I go somewhere else and have a better opportunity, I can play deep in the playoffs. I can go try to chase another championship because I really want that. And I'm scared that maybe if I don't take that decision, that when I'm going to be 37, 38 years old, hopefully, and I'm retiring, I'm going to say, why you didn't take that risk? And people don't understand. It's a risk.
It's a difficult place to be.
Yeah,
I would say that you could always come home.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
You've earned that. You'll always be welcomed here.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome if I can go and play and maybe come back. Kevin Garnett did the same thing. I saw this clip of him walking into the arena and they gave him a standing ovation and people till this day love him. And some people don't always feel.
They always will.
Yeah.
You've earned that.
Yeah. And they gave him a standing ovation and people. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
You've earned that. You'll always be welcomed here.
When I take my showers at night and I think I'm like my showers at night and I
Need cash before payday? Just download the app, select the amount you need. And literally, once approved, the cash will be in your account instantly. And the best part is you can pay them back over 4 installments. Look, if you need money on short notice, Possible's got your back.
Hey, welcome back, Vooch. It's good to see you. Just, can you just talk about your decision-making process in choosing to come back to the Orlando Magic?
Yeah, so for me, be at that stage of where I am in my career was something, it was important for me that it's, a team that has a chance to win. And then also a place that would be good for my family. And so, when the opportunity for Orlando came up, I didn't think about it too much. Obviously, everybody knows my ties to Orlando, the time I spent there, the main part of my career. And then, obviously the team is good, have a chance to win. And then for my family, we live there. We've been coming there even when I was playing in Chicago and Boston. So my kids are pretty familiar with it. And so, when I put it all on paper, it was a pretty easy decision for me to come back. And I'm happy I get the chance to go back to the franchise where I spent the most years and where I left a big mark. And hopefully, I can come back and help the team have some success.
Dan Savage, OrlandoMagic.com.
Hey, Vooch, when you look back at your time with the Magic.
Yeah, so for
can hit us up in the Rage Cage. Just tap that microphone icon at the top of the iHeart Radio app. Your invite to rant and rave towards us. Anything that we've discussed today or some fresh ideas, we'll take them. Welcome to the week of fantasy. Mike is out, so the kids will play. Although, if I know Mike, he will be listening more intently to this segment than any other across the 3 hours because he is as fantasy obsessed, if not more, than the rest of you, whether he admits it or not. Today, I am going to start with my top running backs that, let's be clear. If I was to do top running backs, it's just too easy, too simple. So I'm going to do my top running backs that I will be drafting ahead of their average draft position. The running backs that I will be sprinting to the board with my sticker on draft day to go and select. And this is where, like, if you can forecast this stuff ahead of your league mates, this is how you end up winning in fantasy. Hit me with some music. Let's go. 1 through 5. This is in no particular order, but I'm just going to give you 5 names that I would sprint to the board to draft ahead of where you are going to see them generally selected. Let's start with 1.
Number 1.
Ashton Genty. I'm going to start with a big name here. I'm getting the stink face from Jaden. I'm 1 name in on Fantasy Week.
I didn't think he'd be number 1. It just caught me off guard.
I think he's got 1,200 rushing yards, double-digit touchdown potential. Wasn't all that good last year, but the team is much improved around him. Better quarterback play, better coaching with Clint Kubiak coming in, more creative on offense because of that. Old man Pete Carroll was all washed up. And all of that should open up running lanes for Genty that just were not there in his rookie season. So I really like Ashton Genty for a sophomore bounce back.
Number 2.
Omarion Hampton, same situation in terms of a year 2 bounce back opportunity. It's a different circumstance. The Chargers went into last year with a really good offensive line, with a really good quarterback in Justin Herbert. They have one of the best offensive lines in football when healthy. The problem is last year they weren't healthy. Rashawn Slater, Joe Alt, these guys are beasts. They were not healthy last year. They also get a major upgraded offensive coordinator, Mike McDaniel. Ever heard of him? His offensive scheme starts with running the ball and getting the backs into open space. He was a run game coordinator. That's what eventually landed him a head coaching job. I think Omarion Hampton has a chance to go off in year 2.
Number 3.
Bajal Tootin, running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He fits into this expanded role category because this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for guys that are in expanded offenses, or they have expanded roles within their offenses. They're on offenses that have gone through coaching changes. For him, he slides up to the number 1 in the depth chart. Etienne is gone, and they did nothing to replace him. That shows a tremendous amount of belief in Tootin. Liam Cohen has done nothing but create fantasy studs at the running back position over the last 2 years. Bucky Irving, Travis Etienne, both of them with excellent fantasy seasons with Liam Cohen calling the plays. And now Tootin is the number 1 guy. He's got blazing speed. He's strong enough to get touchdowns down at the goal line. He was a 4th-round pick in the real NFL draft a year ago, so he's not a guy that people are too excited about, but they absolutely should be. I think Bajal Tootin has a chance to be a fantasy star.
Number 4.
Blake Corum, backup running back for the LA Rams. This is a guy, when I've done a couple of these drafts on Underdog, I prefer to pay a couple of bucks so that I can get a real evaluation of where players are being drafted rather than the free ones that are on ESPN, because I noticed that the drafters go into auto draft mode about 2 rounds in, and then you learn nothing but where ESPN has their players ranked. That tells you nothing about where players are going to actually be selected. So my suggestion is drop $1 or $2 and do a draft on Underdog, and that way you have a better idea. Just do a couple. You don't have to do 100 to get an idea of where these players are going to get drafted. This is more of a gamble than anything else because he's not a starting running back. He had some decent stats last year, but the upside is tremendous because if Kyron Williams goes down, Blake Corum is a league winner. The offense that he is running in, Sean McVay always has these guys with high usage. It all starts with the run game for him. Every offense in the NFL now is just some sort of variant of what Sean McVay does. If Blake Corum is by himself, he showed last year he could score and produce some fantasy stats in deeper leagues with Kyron Williams out there. So Blake Corum is a guy, he's at the end of the line. When you see Blake Corum is there, there's usually a bunch of trash around him at the running back position. Just take a stab on him. Happy to do it.
You know, I didn't realize how deep we were going with these cuts. Yeah, you're really catching me off guard here.
Number 5.
Yeah, then the fifth and final is Tony Pollard of the Titans. A very boring pick. No one in your league is going to react when you draft Tony Pollard, I can assure you of that. But the Titans also, like the Jacksonville Jaguars, didn't do anything to upgrade their running back position. He's still the guy. They're also a candidate to explode offensively with a new system. Brian Daboll is the new offensive coordinator there. And fun fact, only 2 running backs in the NFL have rushed for 1,000 yards in 4 straight seasons. It's Derrick Henry and Tony Pollard. Those are the 2, not Christian McCaffrey, not Breece Hall. It's those 2 guys. Tony Pollard and Derrick Henry. So I think he's being underdrafted. Ashton Genty, Amarion Hampton, Bajal Tootin, Blake Corum, Tony Pollard. They get the tag, the stamp. My guy.
I'm making sure I'm putting notes in my head so I can take your guys just to see the reaction on your face. That's my favorite thing about fantasy drafts.
Is just pissing other people off.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we don't have an official spot yet for our Game Heads fantasy draft, but I assure you we will find one. So, and this segment will continue rolling throughout the course of the week as we get set for some fantasy drafts. Up next, it is time for a Monday Mic'd Up. Donald Trump speaks on the red card controversy.
This referee, who is a little bit suspect, if you check his past. I don't want to say that because I don't like to create controversy, but very suspect.
Mic'd Up today brought to you by Adventure Boat Share. Rent a boat, drive a boat, get on a boat. You need to be on a boat.
What kind of boats they have, huh?
Pontoon boats, sailboats, fishing boats, jet skis,
sailboats.
They probably have cruise ships at Adventure Boat Share. Go and check them out. AdventureBoatShare.com. All right, let's start with our teased clip. Donald Trump talking about the red card heard round the world from Balogun.
So I saw the play, and I'm a person that loves sports and was a good athlete. I understand sports really well. And that wasn't a foul. That wasn't even an infraction. That was two guys running full speed that happened to crash into each other. You can't take your foot and properly place it on somebody else's foot when you're going, no, these were two great athletes that got tangled up, and this referee, who is a little bit suspect, if you check his past, I don't want to say that because I don't like to create controversy, but very suspect.
I don't care what your feelings are on Donald Trump, or at least that maybe I care, but that's not the discussion I want to get into. You cannot deny the fact that that man is hilarious.
He's so funny.
He's a little bit suspect.
It's a little bit. I did see we have perhaps an issue brewing tonight. Speaking of suspect officials, I might need to hear from Donnie on this one. The head referee tonight for USA versus Belgium holds a Bosnian passport.
He's a little bit suspect.
Just a little.
He's a little suspect.
His parents are from Bosnia.
Get him off the field, I said.
Not good.
He's very suspect.
Now, we shared what I believe to be some strong opinions on the red card suspension that was then rescinded. We brought up different angles to this story. Dave Portnoy of Barstool is taking a unique approach to this.
I'm going to need some fact checking from fact check people, but I've seen a lot of talk that this has been done before in the World Cup. Like Ronaldo had his suspension pushed off, a bunch of things. So it's not the first time this has ever happened. It was the right call, and this has united a nation. I'll also say, and I know T-Bob, you're not a Trump guy, and I don't know people's politics. If you are against this and you're a United States citizen, deported. I want you out of the country. If you have a problem with this guy playing because you're letting politics get in the way and you don't like Trump place a phone call and you think this is wrong, deported. I want you on the first bus, plane, train. See ya. Go live somewhere else. This is about winning soccer.
That's strong. That is strong. I don't know about deported, but you got to at least be happy that Balogun is playing tonight. I would agree with that part of it. Portnoy went a little bit too far, but that's also, his brain. Harry Kane in the postgame after England disposed of Mexico at the Estadio Azteca Stadium. Anyway, he lost his voice. Here it is.
Well, Harry, huge congratulations. What a contest, what a win. But I just firstly wanted to ask you what's happened over there by the England goal, because there looks to be some concern.
Yeah, Jordan, my voice is gone. Hendo just fell over there. I think he's okay. Just something to do with his arm.
Okay, well, as for the performance, I think it says it all, the fact that your voice has gone. That was some contest to watch. What on earth was it like to play in?
Yeah, it was a crazy game. We had to fight. We had to find something. Yeah, I've just been sitting there. I can't really talk, but all the occasion, the team, everything against us, we found a way.
I want a lozenge for this man. Can we get him a lozenge, please?
They kept him too long for the interview. That full interview was 1:30. He could barely get out anything in the first 45 seconds.
That poor man. Estadio Azteca is where the match was played last night.
I mean, it sounded like you nailed it to me.
Could you imagine you're England going to the team bus after that? After you just beat Mexico in Mexico?
I'd be terrified.
Nick Vucevic met with the media today via Zoom, and he talked about his decision to come back to Orlando.
Yeah, so for me, be at that stage of where I am in my career it was important for me that it's, a team that has a chance to win. And then also a place that would be good for my family. And so, when the opportunity for Orlando came up, I didn't think about it too much. Obviously, everybody knows my ties to Orlando, the time I spent there, the main part of my career. And then, obviously the team is good, have a chance to win. And then for my family, we live there. We've been coming there even when I was playing in Chicago and Boston. So my kids are pretty familiar with it. And so, when I put it all on paper, it was a pretty easy decision for me to come back. And I'm happy I get the chance to go back to the franchise where I spent the most years and where I left a big mark. And hopefully, I can come back and help the team have some success.
It's hard to say that the Magic are big winners in NBA free agency with all of these teams around the Magic in the Eastern Conference that have gotten significantly better in a very short period of time, like the Philadelphia 76ers and the Miami Heat. And Charlotte seems to be taking steps in the right direction. Detroit added a big-time shooter. Boston's still good. New York just won the title. Hell, Washington is going to be good this upcoming season. But this still feels like a win. This move feels like a win. Even if the offseason as a whole has not been victorious for the Magic, adding Nick Vucevic is such a feel-good story, and hopefully it helps on the court. Otherwise, that'll get old fast. Kind of like the Scott Frost thing. Like if UCF isn't good this upcoming season, the feel-good of Frost is back will officially wear off. But I love the fact that he's on the team again.
Yeah, this feels like such a good signing because he has everybody's hearts. Everyone loves this guy in Orlando. Even if he's older and he's not the player he used to be, we still love him. This is still a great signing for everyone in Orlando.
It's our guy. Kind of like Giannis is Milwaukee's guy. He met one-on-one with the Bucks owner, and they had a heartfelt interaction as Giannis makes his way to Miami.
My showers at night, and I think I'm like, maybe I've waited too long, and I see guys playing deep into the playoffs, and I think I'm like, okay, maybe if I switch teams and I go somewhere else and have a better opportunity, I can play deep in the playoffs. I can go try to chase another championship because I really want that, and I'm scared that maybe if I don't take that decision, that when I'm going to be 37, 38 years old, hopefully, and I'm retiring, I'm going to say, why you didn't take that risk? And people don't understand it's a risk.
It's a difficult place to be.
Yeah,
I would say that you could always come home.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
You've earned that. You'll always be welcomed here.
Oh, God, that's great. That's a good owner right there.
Please come back. Please come back to our poverty franchise. That's what he's saying.
Hey, you get that one championship. They hadn't won since the Kareem Cinder. This is before he changed his name. I mean, that's been a minute for them. So that's how we would be, by the way. Here we are, like, Vooch is back. Like, Vooch, relative to Giannis, did nothing.
No, well, yeah.
And we're like, yeah, Vooch is back. Could you imagine old Giannis coming back to Milwaukee? Of course they accept him.
Yeah, I mean, without him, we wouldn't have talked about Milwaukee for the last 10 years. So, yeah, Milwaukee owes everything to Giannis, without a doubt.
Yeah, the door will always be open. But that's a really cool owner to have that sort of conversation with him and to allow him to feel guilt-free on the way out. I'm sure Giannis is a good guy. I'm sure he doesn't like this. The whole, being the bad guy. He's obviously been awkward throughout this whole journey. More game on, more from the game heads. Text in 50857. You can also hit us up on the iHeart Radio Talkback. We got a big-time soccer guest that's joining us. Kaylin Carr from Apple TV joins us at the top of the 5 o'clock hour as well. More game on after this. That Florida heat is rough and tough. It takes no prisoners, so we have two choices. We can either sweat it out, or we can join the club of cool customers by calling the team at Mills Air. And I'm talking next level cool, the latest technology, the best trained techs who do fast, efficient work so that you can get on with your life. And it's not just me who's saying this. Homeowners throughout Central Florida turn to Mills Air for their expert service, honest recommendations, and dependable solutions that fit their budget. Scratch that tune-up off your to-do list. It's worth it. Routine service improves energy efficiency and can save you money in the long run. Call Leon and the crew. Schedule your appointment. Tell them that Brandon Kravitz from Game On sent you by. The number to call, 407-277-1159. Online at millsair.com. Call them today and be their next cool customer. We've got a score in Spain, Portugal. This is one that American soccer fans are going to want to pay attention to. The Team USA squad, if they are able to get a win, if we are able to get a win tonight against Belgium. You can say we when it's America. If we are able to get a win tonight against Belgium, we will take on the winner of this match. And there's about a minute left in stoppage time. And Spain is up 1-0 after a stoppage time goal in the 90th minute from Miguel Merino. So we'll keep an eye on that and see what happens with this match. Got a big one tonight. Kalen Carr from Apple TV is going to join us to break it all down coming up in a matter of minutes. The Sacramento Kings are waiving DeMar DeRozan, making the six-time All-Star one of the top free agents now that is available on the market. Not quite LeBron James levels, but the sides are working collaboratively on a resolution after exploring trade routes. So it looks like that didn't come to fruition, and now DeMar DeRozan is available. Six-time All-Star, he averages 20 points per game. I don't know what kind of money he's going to fetch at this age, and also in the fact that he does not shoot the three ball well, but he's a mid-range merchant, and he can score. So he's going to have suitors out there.
Hopefully it's not the Magic, because I see a lot of people on Twitter saying, Magic, we got to go get DeMar DeRozan. We don't need another person that can't shoot a three ball.
Well, I would agree with that. If you're going to spend money, I'd prefer to spend it on somebody that can help with the three-point shooting percentage. The Magic don't seem overly committed to that, and that is my most frustrating. That's the most frustrating point of contention that I have with this team in the offseason, is that they haven't addressed an obvious need. Yes, they got Desmond Bane last year, but that doesn't solve all of your problems. I wouldn't hate adding DeMar DeRozan if he were to come on like a Vooch deal where it's $3.5 million. But that's all the Magic. I don't even know that they can afford that anymore. They're so cash strapped at this point. So it might not even be possible. I'll look further into that in a bit. But we have some big-time stuff to get to. Bet it or forget it coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Our top story of the day, the red card rescinded, and also a big-time guest, Kalen Carr from MLS Apple TV, to chat about USA versus Belgium. That is 60 seconds away after this Fox Sports update.